Welcome to the online meeting with the international jury of this edition of the Fiebre Dummy Award. This award, which began on 2015, has already produced 5 wonderful photo books, of which we are very, very proud. This call is sponsored by Artes Gráficas Palermo. The Alpine collaborates in the edition and distribution with the participation also of La Troupe in the pre-press. The deadline for submitting proposals is November 1st, and you will find all the information in our website. Now, Sonia Berger, the editor of the Alpine, will moderate this meeting, and thank you to all very much for joining us.
Thank you very much, Miren, for the introduction. And well, we've been already debating and talking about what are the main features we take into account when reading the proposals we receive in Fiebre. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to present again this wonderful jury we have this year. We have Mariela Sancari from Mexico, Argentina, I think. Yeah, correct. She's an artist, a photographer, and she revendicates the artistic practice done outside hegemonic environments. And she's also the founder of Folio, which is the photo book library within the Centro de la Imagen in Mexico City. Thank you, Mariela, for taking part this year as a jury.
Thank you for having.
We also have this year Federica Chiocchetti. She's a writer and a curator specialized in photography and literature. She holds a PhD from the University of Westminster in London on phototextualities. This means she investigates on books that juxtapose images and texts. She's the editor and founder of Photocaptionist, an editorial and curatorial platform that explores the relationship between photography and fictions, images, and words. Thank you, Federica, for being here today and for participating this year as a jury in the Dummy Award.
Thank you so much for having me. It's my pleasure.
And we also have Tiago Casanova from Lisbon. He's an artist, photographer, editor, cultural producer, co-founder of ILA, a non-profit cultural organization whose members are engaged in the discussion and promotion of contemporary art practices. And he's also the co-founder of XYZ Books, based in Lisbon. Thank you very much, Tiago.
Thank you for having me. Such a pleasure.
Thank you. And we also have Martin Bolati from Buenos Aires, Argentina. He's a photographer, editor, teacher. As a photographer, he has published several books, among them A Kind of Loop with Riot Books, La Forma Bruta with La Cursala, and Para Describir una Flor. And he's also the co-director of Felifa, which is a fair, photo book fair in Buenos Aires. I think you have now an open call also for photo books in Buenos Aires. Maybe you can tell us about that.
Just closed. So
just closed.
We already received a lot of proposals.
Thank you. And he's also the founder of Set Editorial, based in Buenos Aires, also specialized in photo books. So I'm really, really happy for having you as a jury. You're gonna help us a lot going through all the proposals received which is a lot of work. But your views and your comments are every year very, very welcome. We were talking before in the discussion we are having that your views help us to forget our obsessions, to look at things differently, right? We've been talking about how do we engage with the proposals. Maybe for some, the images are the starting point of the evaluation of the projects. Others, other members of the jury maybe give some importance to the title, to the very first image when they receive an impact of the work presented, and different questions we need to address when looking at work like this, the way we do now. I'm going to continue asking you, and now we're going to talk about how do you receive innovation in photo books. I think every year we receive many proposals that present very innovative features, like in production, in maybe in the subjects they present, but especially in design and production. How do you read usually these proposals?
I'll start because I'm the only one without a mic off. Thank you so much again for having me. Innovation is sometimes is very unexpected in photo books, but it happens, and when it happens, you don't even sometimes know how to really describe it, but you just feel it. When some other times is really much there. For example, I remember the artist book by Giorgio Di Noto, The Iceberg, where actually to look at some images you need to use a torch because the images are printed on a paper, like a transparent paper, and so suddenly you find yourself in bed with this torch looking at the photo
UV print.
Sorry, thank you, UV print. And so and for me that was a very simple, if you may, innovation, but I had never seen that before, and so of course this has an impact immediately. Sometimes is how, you know, they embrace technology. It could be like a QR code that is really crazily designed, and then it like takes you somewhere else online where there is another world connected to the book. So there are ways in which technology or production has, you know, brought innovation into the photo book world. The risk with these things is that if they are too gimmicky, then you're more hooked by the gimmick, by the new device, say, than the content, the theme, the quality of the images, the sequencing, the editing. So innovation is important, but it's important also, it's like design, it has to be very balanced and has to be doesn't have to eat, if I may, the project in itself, because if a project is strong enough and is good enough, it should work also in a very kind of 1970s photocopied fanzine style. So it's a tricky one, but a very good question.
Thank you.
Yes, I totally agree again with with Federica, and I also work as a bookbinder, so when I find new ways to produce a book, they can be very interesting, and I'm always very intrigued. For example, in the example that Federica gave, Iceberg from Di Noto, I also have this book, and it's at the end, it's so simple, his idea, but so complex at the same time and so innovative. But it fits the book, and that's the important thing. It's a book about the dark web, so, and the relation between some images that only exist in the dark web and other images that exist in the normal web, images to sell cocaine and other products. And so his innovative idea fits the concepts and the content of the book. And just being innovative for the sake of being innovative most likely will ruin the proposal and the book. So yeah, I think at the end people should really concentrate on the actual content, and if they want to be innovative, that's also always very interesting to find new books. But at the end, we're doing photography books, not design books. I believe that they all should have a good balance between design and content, and also all of these at the end, when we see it from the perspective of a publisher, they also need to be sellable, and so all of the things, even the parts that we don't like to talk about, like the financial parts, all of it is important to balance in order to make a good photography book.
Thank you, Tiago.
I think I'm going to be brief, and I agree with everything my colleagues said. And in terms of if there is innovation, say in the architecture of the book or the way you read it, or in whichever way, it needs to be justified and closely related to the concept of the book. So I think maybe nowadays it's more of a challenge to think about a book in a traditional way, say in terms of binding, for instance, or the kind of materials that we use. And in my personal opinion, I would say that I also think it's a really big challenge now to find ways of, for instance, making images and text interact in the book other than using, gimmicky or non-traditional structures, for just like to draw the attention to that instead of what's actually important to me. So yeah, I think overall I agree with everything that's been said.
Thank you, Mariela.
Yeah, I'm gonna add some few ideas. I agree a lot with the general idea, but if I had to summarize it, I would say that to focus on communication and not in showing off. I myself really enjoy when I find graphic solutions that have a real and clear notion of the reader. Again, in the Spanish conversation we had, I spoke about the reader like in first place. And I really think that projects, it's super clear when you see the artist is talking to someone and not to itself or again, to show off in a way, So in that sense, I would suggest for participants to think a lot about the reader, to have that figure or the readers. No, because of course there's multiple ways of reading, but to have that experience in mind. And it's not again a question of building like super complex and smart puzzles, but sometimes being aware of the reader is doing the perfect classic text image books, that works from left to right, like having a full experience. So sometimes the innovation is going classic. So there's space for everything.
I want to make the point with something Tiago was mentioning, because sometimes we receive proposals with a very exquisite book binding, for instance. And here what we're talking about is about translating some idea into something that is going to go through a very technical or mechanical way of producing in the end. I mean, we're taking care of all different parts of the design, but there are things that sometimes work in an edition of 10 done manually. So here we ask participants also to have in mind that we need to translate all that into some kind of production. although it's high artistic and a good quality, but those are different, also different things of approaching and the idea of making books, right? I don't know. I mean, you all have had the experience of producing a large amount of books. Here we're talking about 500 books, right? So I wanted just to make the point on that. And again, we have 8 minutes left. So last question would be, what would be your advice to the participants? Anything you would like to, some advice for them?
I would say for them,
generally speaking, yeah.
I would say for them to bear in mind that they can speak to us with comments in what they propose. Always the comments referring to like materiality or of the book or intentions that cannot be shown just in a PDF, but take advantage of that space for us to be more clear on what we are seeing, because we read, at least I think that everyone here does. So we are going to read those comments. Be aware that don't write a novel.
Thank you, Martin.
Yeah, I mean, as everyone has already said a bit, I think to be synthetic but accurate. So I know that sometimes artists, they really neglect the artist statement, and sometimes I receive artist statements that are full of typos with very vague, big words, Anthropocene, or all the isms, or quoting Roland Barthes. Just try to polish and be accessible, sophisticated but accessible. There is a really cool article on The Guardian on how to write an artist statement. I think if you Google it, you'll find it super quickly. And don't think that it's not important and that it won't be read, because we read it. So personally, I like to read a quite concise, to the point, synthetic but sophisticated artist statement, and enjoy the process. Don't be stressed. It's not, it's not the final product. It's just an idea. Maybe use the conditional verb. We could do this, we could do that. That shows that you are flexible and open to other solutions. And just have like a positive, optimistic approach to the whole submission process as well, because otherwise it's going to be a bit of a pain in the neck for you to do it. We have to have fun at the end.
Thank you so much, Federica.
Yeah, I'm going to repeat something we said in the Spanish version. At the end, this is a dummy proposal. So don't stress too much on having to have everything very clear, very final. My advice is to try to find a good balance between being the most precise that you can with your ideas. At the end is you want to show us what you have in mind. So we want to understand what's behind your project, what you want to work on, what you are presenting, being concise, as Federica said, but trying to balance between something that it's not too final, so that Dalpine and Sonny can still work on it and work together to finalize the project and polish it, but also not to be too much vague, and just be, very direct and sincere, like you are talking to us on a table, and very concise, and just explain your ideas, what you want to do, what you're presenting.
Thank you, Tiago. Mariela, any advice?
Yes, an advice is always kind of like a tricky thing for me, but I think I would say, like, take a risk and dare to do something that it's maybe not necessarily what has been awarded in other photo book awards, or it's not kind of like part of the trends that we see. Dare to do that. I really, really look forward to those kinds of books. So just, I know since you're doing something risky, risk takes in the possibility not to be selected. But I think here with the four of us and you guys, we are eager to kind of like see those kinds of projects. So here there's room for that. So please,
fantastic,
right? Please share them with us.
Thank you so much. Miren she sent me some questions from the audience. Maybe we can translate them. So Silvia Hernando, she's asking how cómo de finalizada tiene que estar la edición. This means how, I mean, we've been through that already. We have already talked about that. How definitive is the edition, you know, or how accurate has to be presented. And how much time do we have to make the changes with the editor until we end up the project? So usually we have already been talking about that. The edition has to, we need to see this, there is an idea of what you want to achieve with the book, of course, but you have to be open also to a dialogue here, right? And second, we have maybe 6 months for going through all the process, since we have the finalist, and then we start working, we produce, and we present, we make the official presentation of the book launch in Fiebre next year, 2022, probably here in Madrid. Yeah. So do you have any questions for the jury, Miren? Are you there?
Hi. No, there is no more questions.
No.
But if you want to share something more, something else, we have like 5 minutes to end
finish.
the session.
Okay, so yeah, we didn't mention like the award consists of having the production of 500 copies of the book. We're going to have with this jury, we're going to make a selection of 10 books. Those 10 books are going to be shown in Fiebre, right? In the festival as a maquette. So then we're going to choose one finalist from this selection of 10, and then we're going to start working, yeah, on the book, on the production, on the images. La Troupe, they make all the pre-press process. We work together in the editing, in the design, etc. And then we work together also with Artes Gráficas Palermo. They produce the final edition and they give advice all through the process. It's a very long journey. It's not instant, but it's always been very rewarding. I don't know.
I have a question for you, Sonia.
Yeah.
As you mentioned the design, so imagine that one of the artists proposed something that they already have worked with a designer, and although it's not like a final thing, they want to keep that collaboration. Sometimes it happens that they want to keep that collaboration with the designer they've been working with. how do you do that? Like, do you
We also
usually
start a
accept,
conversation with them, or sometimes also the proposal doesn't have to go again through the designer who conceived the book. We talk with the author, and we suggest things. They can also make proposals. I mean, another dialogue, we start talking with them in case there is a designer engaged in the project. Yeah. If not, we find one who can adapt and who can take care of and be part of also of the process. Miren, no te oímos.
Sorry. No, I was going to say that another interesting thing is that the author also will receive 1,000 euros because of the copyright of the first edition, and we will invite also from every part in the world to come to Madrid to join us in the next edition and present the photo book with us here in Madrid.
Super cool. Super cool.
Can I add
30 years of pandemic, that sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Can I add one little thing,
Yes,
Sonia?
of course.
That from my experience in the FELIFA festival, which is the one we organize here in Argentina and Latin America, even though your book does not end as the winner of the award, in most cases, sending dummies to this kind of calls works around publishing your book. Like most of the finalists, at least in editions in FELIFA, end up being seen by a publisher or having this push, for people to auto-publish themselves. So of course, aim at being published with Delpine, because it's a wonderful publishing house. But also bear in mind that your book is going to be seen and shown around, and that's a really good opportunity for it to end being published at the end.
That's right. That's why we invite you as jury to also get to see all these submissions. And we hope you find something interesting that maybe you can work with in the future, right?
Sonia, one moment. There are some quick questions, like how many copies does the winner get?
How many copies? I think it was 25 or, yeah, 25.
And what precisely do you mean by PDF version of the dummy?
How? Sorry, again, how precise?
What do you mean with or by PDF version of the dummy?
A layout, a PDF in which we can see the layout of the book. Yeah.
We don't want to see single pages, no? We want to see, side by side spreads, please. Otherwise, it's impossible. It's a common mistake, I guess.
Yeah.
Unless the book is single pages, no?
And how?
I think what it meant, maybe, sorry, Federica, it means that the digital version as opposed to the physical copy, right? Maybe that's what they were wondering, or?
Miren,
¿Capaz era eso?
Sí, I think.
If they have a physical dummy, because some of the artists might have already, it would be nice to photograph the dummy and also share at the end or at the beginning of the PDF.
In that case,
so
they
that
can also add, if they have a video, or you can put the link to see also.
You will see how the amount of information you're going to go through. So that's a lot.
And I was reading the last question about how it's possible to combine experimentalism in printing, binding, and the cost production. is it imaginable to scale down the project for the future, and how permanent has to be the proposal?
No, that's exactly what we discussed, that it has to be open. Nothing is permanent or fixed on stones. And I mean, you are the founder of the award, so you probably know better. But I think, I don't know, maybe if they have, in terms, for example, or on editing or sequencing, as Tiago was saying, normally it's very good to create a link between the concept, the theme that is explored, and the way the book is edited or sequenced. So maybe they could, they could also just show one section and say, this is how I feel about editing, use it, and describe their approach. And then, I guess if the project has more images that haven't been included yet in the dummy, I'm sure that you are happy to see these other images that are not yet in the book.
Yeah, that's something we also ask. We want to see more images in the project, because maybe we start reviewing again the editing, or the participants should be open to start a discussion about many things. About it doesn't mean that what they present needs to be reviewed per se, but that sometimes we feel we must discuss again certain things, right? So it doesn't have to be final, definitive. Usually we ask, how do you feel about your project? What do you feel there is something you would like to ameliorate? No,
improve. Yeah.
Improve. Sorry. And so be open for starting this kind of conversation with us.
But although it's not like a final, precise presentation, my advice is for the authors, don't feel that you can just put everything, like try to be, very concise and precise on the selection of the images you want to put. Even if you're not very sure, at least only put images that you are absolutely sure. We don't want to see a book with 300 pages or 300 images if at the end you are aiming to do a book with 100, just so that we can see the possibilities. Try to be concise on your proposal. There will be time after the selection for Dalpini and Sonia to check your other images, other things that you have. So
maybe you can mention in one sentence, this is the dummy. By the way, I have other 400 images on this project that we could look at that are not yet included.
That's right.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mira.
Sonia, Tiago, Mariela, Martin, and Federica. I guess that you will have much hard work to do in the next weeks. So thank you very much for sharing this afternoon with us. And also thank you very much to all that you have enjoyed us. And good luck with your proposals. We are willing to share, to see what you are working on, and every year we receive amazing projects, different proposals. We know sometimes it's very interesting to see how same authors, they are working on new projects, and also we like to continue their development and their investigation and their improvements. And other times they arrive a lot of many new names, new things. So each year is amazing, this process, this period. So thank you very much for sharing with us.
Thank you all. Enjoy this time of reviewing the project. And thank you again for helping us with
Thank
this.
you,
Thanks so
guys.
much. It's super cool to be in such great company with the jury.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Likewise.
I
and
really admire you all,
forward-
so I look forward to sharing opinions. Thank you.
Yes.
Right. And really looking forward to seeing the books that people are sending.
Yeah.
Please be brave. Be bold.
Thank you, guys.
Ciao.
Thank you.
Ciao.
Bye.
Au revoir.
Ciao.